Hello, everybody out there in Twitch.tv land. I am dijonketchup. I am running Pokemon trading card game, aka RNG hates me, the game. So, first off, you'll notice if you look at the timer, you'll see. But wait, Dijon, why is the timer at 8:03? Well, I'll tell you why. Because when we speedrun this game, we skip the tutorial and start with a save file that's right after the tutorial, because the tutorial is very scripted and very slow, and everyone hates it. So we just put 8:03 on the timer and start right afterwards. So you can see I have a convenient save file ready to go. Alright, so I'm gonna count my own self in on this. Oh, do you want to introduce yourself?
I was wondering if I would just have to vote first and do it.
Oh yeah,
I'm Starscream. I am also a runner of this game, and I'm here to explain what the hell's going on while Dijon does all of the menuing.
Woo!
Woo!
Alright. Gonna start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! So first off, deck editing. Oh.
So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to
I'm going to mess up the menu.
Oh no! The very first thing we want to do is we want to reduce the number of energies we have, because if we talk to this guy right here, if you have below a certain number of energy cards in your, I guess it's like a binder in, the physical sense, he'll give you 10 of each type of energy, which is super convenient for us, because normally you'd have to go through and grind a bunch of battles to get all the extra energies we're going to need. So we're just going to use this to get that nice jump start. Then we're going to go through, we're going to reduce the number of energy types in the deck down to just fire and fighting, which is going to help with some of issues around variance, as well as give us some nice setup to take on our first two, not gyms, clubs. I will get that wrong eventually. Which are the Grass Club, obviously weak to Fire-type Pokemon, and the Electric Club, which are weak to fighting because that includes Ground and Rock-type Pokemon as well. So here's our first battle up against Heather. We have a Charmander in hand, and she only has one basic Pokemon as well, but she drew into another one, which is unfortunate. The way this game works is that there are 3 conditions under which the game is over. The first and most common is one player gets their last prize. Each battle we do will have a specific number of prize cards. If you remember playing this as a kid or in any sort of official sanctioned setting, it's always 6, but other fights will use varying numbers. This one uses 4. You can see down in the corner the number of prizes. The second way, and the way we really, really want to end duels, is for one player to run out of Pokemon on the field. Every player has an active Pokemon, which are the 2 you see on that main screen, as well as a bench of up to 5 Pokemon. If you have no Pokemon on the field, you lose. And the dream in this game is that your opponent only plays a single Pokemon, and you can just KO it, and that's it. That's the duel. So as you see here...
Speaking of the duel, Heather is down.
Yeah.
And we save before each duel, because sometimes, if you've got, like, bad RNG, you just want to start over as quickly as possible.
Yeah, this is one of those games where we really want to use the clock timer rather than any sort of in-game timer. Not that I think this game has one.
I think it has one on the, like, save
Oh
file,
yeah,
but...
yeah. So the other big mechanic we're going to try to exploit in this game is weaknesses. Every Pokemon can have either a weakness or a resistance. If a Pokemon is weak to a type, it does double damage. This is great. It means that later on, when we're fighting, things like Chansey that have up to 120 HP, which is ridiculous, we can one-shot it with an attack that does 60 or more. Dijon just evolved her Growlithe into an Arcanine. This is really convenient for a number of reasons. One, it usually gives us access to more powerful attacks, but also, if you evolve a Pokemon, it counts it as a new Pokemon for the purposes of having status effects on it. So the paralysis that Growlithe had goes away.
Yep.
And there's going to be a number of small manipulations we have like that in order to just try to blast through as many of our opponent's Pokemon as quickly as possible. Additionally, each one of these clubs has... some of them have their own gimmicks going on. In particular, the Fighting Club, which is the first one we went into and then ran right out right away from, that gym has a thing where all of its trainers are at different clubs training with other clubs, and you have to go find them and hunt them down and beat them. What's going on in the Grass Club, is that the club master, I think
that
is
was
the
a
term,
fast win.
is missing. And so you have to beat all three of her duelists, club masters. I don't know the terminology in this game.
All the peons.
Yes, are scattered around, and you have to beat all three of them before they'll tell you that she's at this dude's house. So now that we've cleared them out and got her to go back to her gym, we're going to the Lightning Club instead. This is another one where we have to clear all three peons. And it's good to get out of the way early, because one of the other things going on here is you'll notice that after every single fight, we get 2 packs of a particular type. The pack we want the most of is the Colosseum pack. It has the most cards that are going to be important to us during this run. In particular, the card we are looking for above all else right now is Scyther.
Scyther!
Oh, I'm getting a communication that says, can you turn down your mic real fast?
Potentially. Yeah, give me just a sec.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, okay. Hopefully that's better.
So Scyther is the one Pokemon that we are not guaranteed to open at least one copy of. And it is super important and super useful for taking out 3 trainers that we're going to face. And so we're really, really hoping that
Also, I did a dumb and put an energy on the wrong Pokemon.
Yeah, unfortunately you're only allowed to put down 1 energy card a turn, so if you mess that up, it can occasionally be brutal. Luckily for us, that one wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But menuing... This game is just menuing, the speedrun, the game.
Pretty much. Sometimes you menu so fast you accidentally do something you don't want to do.
Yeah. There is a little bit of a recovery around that. If you don't fully complete an action, you can walk it back by doing a quick soft reset, which allows you to go...
This is not going great for me.
You have the Charmeleon.
Think I can... think I might be able to pull it off.
Yeah, I would have computer searched up the plus power.
Oh yeah, I could have done that, couldn't I? Sometimes when you're going real fast, you don't think of these things.
Yeah.
A lot of thinking on the fly, using what you have at your disposal to... you're gonna light screen.
How much RNG there is in this game, because at its core, it is a card game. You have a deck, it gets randomly shuffled, and you have to deal with what you're dealt, what you're given. There is just a lot of, like, okay, we're going, and I'm not sure what I'm doing, but we're just going to make do with what tools I have available.
Country girls making do.
Yeah, and, like, that's one of the reasons I really enjoy this
speedrun. Electabuzz. Oh, I got an Electabuzz and a Hitmonchan, so that's pretty good.
Nice. One of the things I love about this game is just how different every single run feels. There are, you know, those notorious speed games where RNG will just screw you over at the last second. There is no at the last second in this run. It is just constantly going up and down, and there's the variance between a run to run, duel to duel, split to split can be so extreme, and it's really exciting to watch.
You just gotta believe in the heart of the cards.
Yeah,
that was this game, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, you know, you're playing with your Ponyta, which is, you know, red, and as we know, red deck wins. Are you kidding me?
Okay, that's a reset because that was gonna kill my one Pokemon.
Yeah, that was rough. And so again, this is why we save before every single one of these duels, because stuff like that just happens. We never drew into another Pokemon, and so there was literally nothing we could do.
I have never played TCG2. One of these days, I need to play the English patch of that. I'm still mad they never released it over here.
Yeah. Well, this one seems to be going a little bit better than last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but your opponent's lack of fighting energy is very convenient.
Yep.
And now that you've got your Stage 2 Charmeleon set up, I might have spoken too soon.
I got paralyzed, but I do have a full heal.
That's always good. Unfortunately, you don't have the one-shot.
Oh. That's a reset. It's self-destructed. Oh. I'm getting bad luck against Nicholas.
Yeah.
He's usually real easy.
Yeah, unfortunately, like, this is straight up how this game goes sometimes, you know? You're doing really, really well, and then your opponent just goes, lol, no.
Yeah, if this wasn't a marathon, this, like, losing this many, doing this many resets this early on would definitely be a reset of the run for me.
Yeah. But, you know, we soldier on towards victory. Okay, that's only 10 damage. So, getting back to the cards we're looking for, after Scyther, the next most important thing that we're going to be looking for
is... Oh, now I draw plus power.
Well, I mean, at least this one's over.
Oh yeah, that was his only Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes when you know you are gonna leave them with like 10 or 20 health left, you want to... Oh, there's my Scyther.
Yo,
and
nice.
A Raichu.
Okay, Raichu is also a Pokemon that we're really going to be looking forward to for one of the decks that we're going to be building.
And we're on some deck edit time.
Yeah.
Got some decent trainers so far.
is I forget her name, but her deck can be really annoying. She runs a bunch of Pikachus, up to and including the flying Pikachu.
Which is resistant to fighting.
Which can be obnoxious. Yes, Jennifer. Which is why we do these deck edits now, because she tends to be...
Oh, speaking of flying Pikachu.
Hey! Resistance means that the opponent takes 30 less damage from every attack we do. Diglett's attacks do 10 and 30 damage respectively, which means that we're not going to do very much against a flying Pikachu with a Diglett. A flying Pikachu also has attacks. For 1 energy, it can paralyze you, which is obnoxious.
Yeah.
For 3 energy, it'll do 30 damage, and then it will possibly be just completely immune to anything you throw at it.
I think I have a... Yeah, I've got a plus power, so I can... Bye-bye, Flying Pikachu.
Later, nerd!
Plus power is very helpful because it adds 10 damage to your attack for that turn. And sometimes that's enough to knock out a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Oh,
being able... Oof.
Yeah, that's not great. That's... Oop.
Well, you've got the potion.
Yeah.
So that'll be a good backup.
On Tails. Okay, so the Pikachu's gonna do 10 damage to itself. So
yeah,
let's use this potion. And because it did 10 damage to itself, I can knock it out with my Fire Punch.
Which is good, because one of the big things that is really important to this game and this run is just how many rounds it takes you to knock out a Pokemon. If you can knock out something in 1 round rather than 2, or 2 rounds rather than 3, that is a massive time save.
Especially if they don't have any Pokemon on the bench, it gives them less of a chance to put another one out there and keep the game going.
Exactly.
Okay, and Magmar is down.
Well, you've got the Diglett, and you're down to your last prize anyway, so...
Yeah.
This is...
Alright.
And that's the match.
Yep. So now I can fight Isaac, who's gonna be our first...
Club Master. I looked it up.
Club Master, yeah. They specifically made the terminology slightly different from how it is in an actual Pokemon game, because I guess they hate children.
Well, I think it has nothing to do with the children. I think they knew that in the year 2019, there would be people speedrunning this and trying to commentate on it, and continuously getting it wrong.
Did I get paralyzed? I did not get paralyzed. Sweet.
Yeah, so cards we're looking for from packs are... We want Dugtrio, because that's going to be the main Pokemon we're using in our endgame deck. We want as many of those as we can, or at the very least, 2 or 3. 4 would be incredible, but, you know...
Oh, the Magnemite self-destructed, so that's an extra easy prize for me.
Yeah. We want... those Raichus, as previously mentioned. We'll be using those a fair bit. We're actually also looking for Dugongs, because those come up as well. We only need the 1 Scyther. Luckily for us.
Yep.
And beyond that, what we're looking for are trainer cards, which are the cards that we're playing for the one-off effects, your potions, your full heals, your bills.
Yeah, pots of bill.
Yes. There's a joke there about my end table containing all the bills.
Stop putting things on the bench, you jerk.
Yeah, Kangaskhan is a fairly common Pokemon that we'll see the enemy trainers have. It's annoying because it has 90 HP, which is a pain in the butt to deal with.
Yep.
And also, it lets your opponent draw cards,
Ooh.
which is the literal worst, and oof.
Do I have...
That was
Alright.
rough.
Magmar, you're going in.
And see, what you're seeing here is the play by which we can continue the duel from about the same state we left it off at, to get another stab at things, if there's just some slight tweaking we need to do to make it work. Okay, we got this.
Okay.
So that's our first Club Master down, which earns us the Lightning Medal, which is one of the 8 Master Medals we need to take on... I don't even know what they're called in this game.
It's basically this game's version of the Elite Four.
Yeah.
You win 8 badges, you take on the Elite Four. And then, spoiler alert, surprise, your rival is there.
Yeah, as it turns out, this is in fact a Pokemon game. So we're up against Nikki. Nikki is the club master of the Grass Club, which means that if all goes well, Magmar here should just be able to Fire Punch our way to victory, as long as the Oddish doesn't paralyze us.
That's okay, I have a computer search, so I'm just gonna look for a full heal.
Yeah, computer search being one of the most powerful cards in the game, it allows you to discard 2 cards from your hand to tutor up any card in your deck.
Yep. Unless it's one of your prizes, which sometimes you'll be looking for 1 card, and it's in your prizes, so you can't get it.
Yes.
Love when that happens. This soundtrack slaps.
I know, right? So, Sleep is a status effect that is less annoying than Paralysis most of the time. Paralysis just takes your active Pokemon out of the action for 1 turn, no matter what, unless you cure it. Sleep, you flip a coin at the end of every turn to wake up. If you don't flip a heads, you stay asleep. So if we're lucky, if we get put to sleep, we can just come right back up right away, and your opponent wasted their turn.
So that's our 2nd medal here.
Yay!
And our rival, who you probably forgot existed because he has absolutely no character development.
And also only showed up in the plot when we went into our first club.
Yeah, this is only the 2nd time you see him.
Wait,
so basically, after the 2nd medal you get, and I believe the 6th, or is it 5th? 5th or 6th medal, I forget.
It's after the 6th, but
6th.
I think you need to attach energy. I'm kind of worried about how your Charmander's doing.
Nah, it's fine.
No,
Oh.
Yeah, no, this is an intentional wipe. In both of the rival battles we're getting until the very last one, we're going to be taking the intentional losses, because for the most part they're going to be faster.
Yeah,
Sometimes
all you get for winning is a promotional card that is not useful in the run at all. I don't even remember what it is anymore. It's been so long since I've actually played this game vanilla.
Yeah, there are other categories. There is one where you have to collect all of the cards, so that those fights become a bit more, shall we say, important in those cases. But for this one, where it's just an any percent run, we're not worried about it. And so this is the first time you've had a Dugtrio out on the battlefield, right?
It might actually be, yes.
Yeah, so Dugtrio is the Pokemon of Pokemon in this game. It is fighting type, which means it does extra damage against a lot of the more annoying Pokemon we see, including things like Chanseys and Kangaskhan's.
I'm gonna play it safe and computer search for a potion.
And then it's takes 4 fighting energies to use Earthquake, which does 70 damage, which, even if the opponent has a resistance to fighting, that's still 40 damage going through.
Yeah. So I didn't end up using Earthquake there because the opponent had a Defender, which would have done 20 less damage, which would have been 50 out of its 60 hit points, and that would have been a waste of an Earthquake, because as you'll see, when you use Earthquake, you do 10 damage to each of your benched Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Which
is important to keep track.
Yeah, it can kind of... Oh, it got a Dugtrio.
That's good.
But it can kind of screw you over, and B, the animation for that just takes more time.
Yeah. So we're going to pop into the Water Club, and I know you duel Amanda here. Do you also duel?
No, just Amanda here.
Okay. As it turns out, Amanda's deck.
Oh, that's a Scyther I'm up against with a Diglett. That's a reset.
Oh. Yeah. Yikes. As it turns out, Amanda is usually a little bit easier to defeat with this deck rather than the one we'll be coming back through with.
Yep. Oof, Poliwag. This could be... Well... Oh, Mysterious Fossil. Mysterious Fossil is a thing that is a trainer card that you put on your bench. Has 10 hit points, can't attack, but it can buy the opponent some time, and it's supposed to evolve into Kabuto, Ammonite, or Aerodactyl.
But for the most part, it just counts as a benched Pokemon for the purposes of...
Stalling.
Stalling, and also Amanda has, thank goodness we didn't see it, the Wigglytuff that does extra damage based off the number of benched Pokemon you have.
Yep. Okay,
cool.
So since I got my Scyther from one of the packs, I don't have to do the Scyther manip.
Yeah.
So if you don't get a... Sorry, go ahead. You can explain it.
So how the Scyther manip works in the abstract is after you do particular things, the professor who we were talking to at the very, very beginning, who you'll become intimately familiar with if you sit through the tutorial, will give you, send you emails that have extra packs that you can use to, get more cards. So if we don't see a Scyther, what we will do is we will sit there and just repeatedly open the same packs over and over again by saving beforehand and resetting if we don't open the Scyther. There is a certain amount of RNG manipulation we can do based off of the when we get into the game from the title screen that I personally am a little fuzzy on the details. But if you have the right timing, you can almost guarantee that you'll get the Scyther.
Yeah, so basically what you can do is when you open... So basically, if you don't get the Scyther, what you end up doing... Oh yes, double colorless. So what you end up doing is... you skip ahead to the Ken fight and just take him out, so that you have 6 emails. And you basically make a save to highlight where you just mash the buttons into the computer and reload. And you can just quickly mash buttons to open the email as fast as possible to avoid the RNG frames from advancing before you can get the frame that you want. And basically, people who are much smarter than I am have gone through this whole thing and figured out the order of the RNG frames for the card draws. And if you reset it and go as fast as you can, but then advance the title screen at a certain... Ooh.
Ouch.
Helps if I press the right button. I'm gonna heal just to be on the safe side, because Marathon.
Yeah.
But, so basically you can open up the first email, and if it doesn't have the Scyther, based on what the rare card that you draw is, and the cards that come after it, people have figured out, like, which packs you need to open in order to advance the RNG frames so that you end up drawing a Scyther.
Yeah, it is... I've read the documentation on this, and there is, like, a whole tree of, if you open this pack and then this pack and you see, you know, Tangela and a potion in one, then you know exactly which packs you need to open to get a Scyther. It's amazing to watch someone do it.
Yeah, I was almost hoping I didn't draw a Scyther just so I could show that off.
Yeah, and so Scyther is just a really good Pokemon. Back in the heyday of the original Pokemon trading card game, it was one of the, like, really powerful Pokemon that we saw in the just metagame overall, because it is grass type that resists fighting, which is really good here because we see a whole bunch of fighting types that are weak to grass.
Yep.
And it's just got that 3 colorless, 30 damage, so even if our energy cards weren't the best, we could still, at the very least, pump out damage against Jean here. Who is defeated?
Jean, the Geodude machine.
Or something.
He's more of a Rhyhorn machine, honestly.
Yeah.
Alright, so we have one more duel to do with the Scyther deck.
Before we never use Scyther again.
Yep. So it's only useful for like 3 fights, but it's incredibly useful for those 3 fights.
Yeah, like, I don't... And one of the other interesting things about the way that this game is played is you'll notice that this Scyther is the only Pokemon in our deck.
Yep.
And that's one of the core, like, deck building philosophies you'll see behind this particular speedrun. I do not recommend doing this if you're actually playing this game against actual humans.
Yeah. The way it works in this game because we can pretty much guarantee that we're not going to get KO'd most of the time when using Scyther. And
yeah.
If you are playing this game and you draw your hand of 7 cards at the very beginning of your turn, and you do not have a basic Pokemon in your hand, then you have to redraw a new hand of 7 cards. And you do this... Oh, I forgot to change my deck.
Yeah, I don't think you want to go up against Ken with exactly one Pokemon being Scyther, who is weak to fire.
Yeah. So, we're going back to Diglett and Dugtrio. Getting some...
Yeah, and
some
you'll notice
decent
that
trainers.
every single time we do these deck edits, we're going to go through the trainer cards and look for ones that are particularly good to include. Because as we open these packs, we're obviously going to get more trainers, and as we get good ones, you know, Bill, draw 2 cards, Professor Oak, discard your hand and draw 7, and things like energy removal, which removes an energy from an enemy Pokemon, etc. We really want to start getting those good ones in our deck, but we don't also want to waste the menuing time to do it after every single duel. So we'll be doing that every single time we're going in and changing, for the most part, the elemental composition of these decks. And
But,
so
yeah.
this Ken fight's going amazing. We've got a 3rd turn Dugtrio, which is really the best setup you could hope for.
It's like the fastest you could really get it.
Yeah, the 4th turn Earthquake is also amazing.
Yeah.
At this point, we're basically just going to be trampling over the rest of Ken's Pokemon.
Yep. And Earthquake is very useful when you have nothing on your bench, because you just skip that whole bench damage phase.
Yeah.
And I can just do a casual 140 damage to Tauros.
That's Ken.
But yeah, so basically, when you have just one Scyther in your deck, then you basically mulligan until you start with that card, so you can guarantee a start with it. We also do the same thing later on with...
the promotional Mewtwo.
Yes. I need to
Which
add my
we will call out.
Rattaz.
Yeah. So what Dijon is doing now is adding in extra Rattatas, because coming up next is the Psychic Club Master, Murray. And Murray's deck contains the card Mr. Mime, which, if you've watched the Detective Pikachu movie, I'm sorry for planting that image in your head. But in particular, Mr. Mime has a Pokemon power, which we haven't actually covered yet because they haven't been relevant yet. But Pokemon powers are passive effects that different Pokemon can have. What Mr. Mimes does is if it would take more than 20 damage from an attack, it will take no damage from that attack instead. It also has a pretty standard, just like
Speak of the
2
devil.
psychic energy attack that will shred through Diglets, unfortunately. And so what we do is we have the Rattata as our backup to deal with Mr. Mimes, because Rattata both resists psychic Pokemon, as well as has an attack that just does 20 damage.
For 1 energy. And, conveniently, Diglett and Rattata both have free retreat cost, so you can swap them out whenever you want.
Yes. Other Pokemon will have retreat costs that are a little bit higher, one of those Pokemon being Dugtrio, so in this duel you really have to be strategic about when you're going to evolve your Diglets.
Yep. Although this seems like a pretty good time to do so, because Chansey.
Yep.
I also want to avoid Earthquaking as much as I can, because I have a Rattata with 30 HP on the bench.
Yep.
And here I can use this plus power to use Slash to take out Kangaskhan. Because normally it would take 80 damage from weakness, but the plus power adds an extra. And this is his last Pokemon, so I'm just gonna Earthquake it.
Yeah, the
Not
way
give
the
him a...
math works is that weakness and resistance is applied before other effects. So you have the amount of damage that the attack is doing. If it's weak, it gets doubled. And then we add in...
Oh, dang. That was a gold split right there.
Yo, nice!
Oh, and here's What's-His-Nuts again. Ronald. Oh, and I'm starting off with a Rattata, so I can lose even faster. Never mind, he played Kangaskhan, which takes 4 energy to attack.
Yeah, Kangaskhan is one of those obnoxious things that is just a massive annoying wall.
And when you want to lose as fast as possible and it takes 4 energy to power up an actual attack, you're gonna be waiting a bit. And it's one that relies on coin flips, so if he manages to not flip enough heads, which he got enough heads this time.
Oh!
And again, this is a fight you can lose without consequence. All you miss out on is a promo card that we're not gonna need in this, Almost forgot to go get the Mewtwo. That is...
Yeah.
The real final boss is remembering to talk to the old man to get the Mewtwo.
My real final boss is remembering to talk to the fighting club master before I start running around.
Oh yeah, so you can spawn the peons.
Yeah.
That is not a
so
euphemism.
We're going to come back to the water club, and we're going to build an electric deck. All of you Pikachu fans out there, I hope you're ready. We're also going to throw in an Electabuzz just because it's a very good Pokemon. For those of you who played back in the day, there was the Haymaker deck, it was called. And we're going on a bit of a trip down memory lane. It had 3 basic Pokemon in it. It had Scyther, it had Electabuzz, and it had Hitmonchan. All of which were Pokemon with a lot of HP, and able to throw out a bunch of damage for very reasonable energy costs. So now we're seeing the second of that triplet.
Of course she started with Slowpoke. Slowpoke is a psychic Pokemon in this game, so it's not weak to electric.
Yeah, plus its attack, if it's successful, removes one of the damage counters off it. So that can be a little bit annoying to deal with.
Yep. Also, Poliwag is a bit annoying to deal with because, for whatever reason, it has a weakness to grass instead of electric. Not sure why they did that, but yeah.
Yeah, yes, in Pokemon, water types are weak to both grass and electricity, and they needed to pick one. I don't know why they broke it this way as opposed to any other way, but they did. And we're just going to have to live with the consequences. So the Defender, it prevents, I believe, 20 damage from an attack? But more importantly, if we had rolled Tails and Raichu would have been dealing damage to itself, that Defender would soak up that hit as well.
Ooh, Item Finder.
Item Finder is kind of like Computer Search, except instead of pulling it from your deck, it pulls it from your discard pile. And it only works on trainer cards. Sorry.
Yeah. But it's still real useful if you, like, need another computer search and you already used the ones you have.
Or sometimes you're just going for that plus power to get in that little extra bit of damage.
Yeah, the types are very condensed in the card game, so... fighting is basically... fighting, ground, rock, all that of good stuff.
Yeah, Psychic contains Ghost Pokemon as well.
And if you'll remember Gen 1, Psychic had, like, no weaknesses. So Psychic Pokemon are mainly weak to Psychic Pokemon. Yeah.
And then you also have the normal type, which is the generic, the colorless. It includes flying types for some reason.
And dragon.
Dragons for some reason. And I think that... Oh, and grass also gets poison type mixed in there.
Yeah. And bug.
Yeah.
Horsey's smokescreen is kind of annoying. Because you have to flip a coin to see if you can attack.
Well, got him.
And then water also contains ice.
Yes. After defeating all 3 of the Water Club peons, we finally convince Amy to stop taking a nap.
And then we tell her we don't want to fight so we can save.
Which is important.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we didn't save...
And we had to reset.
We'd have to refight that last peon again. This has never happened to me in a run, I don't know what you're talking about.
I do believe in modern play for the trading card game nowadays, they do have a separate type for dragon, and I know that they added in fairy, steel, and dark when those were added to the game.
Yeah. Dark and Steel came out, like, right away. Actually, those were super weird because, like, the energy cards had additional effects attached to them.
Yeah, and they weren't basic energy, so you could only have 4 in your deck.
Yeah.
It was a weird time.
And after that, I kind of dropped off the wagon of playing this freaking game.
Yeah. Oh. That's a reset.
Nom nom nom.
Yeah, I haven't played the actual card game since Gen 2.
Yeah, and I've looked at it a little bit, just because I know other people who are into it somewhat, and like, you can only play certain trainers, you can only play one of a trainer on a given turn. They made it a lot less, well,
Yeah.
I don't want to call this completely busted, but it's a little busted.
And now they're, like, it used to be like the max HP a Pokemon could have was 120, and now some go over like 200. And the attacks do a lot more damage.
Yeah.
Alright, we're gonna evolve into a Raichu to get around the paralysis.
And plus it lets us one-shot from the 20 damage from agility.
Yep.
Yeah, and now there's also Pokemon that, like, when you knock them out, you draw 2 prizes and whatnot. It's wild.
Well, now they have, like, apparently these, like, team-up cards that you draw 3 prizes for defeating.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I don't keep on top of it. I play this, and I also play Magic the Gathering, so... Now that we're done with that, we're moving on to the Science Club, which is the strangest elemental type I've ever heard of.
It's supposed to be, like, poison, I think, but there's... This guy has, like, flying Pokemon, which is why we're still using the Pikachu deck.
Yeah, there's this weird blend of, like, poison and psychic type going on here.
Yeah.
That I never quite understood. But, you know...
I do have a full heal. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Confusion is super obnoxious as a status effect because if you try to attack or retreat, You have to flip a coin, and if you flip tails, you'll do 20 damage to yourself.
Yep. And it doesn't, like, go away naturally, like,
Like paralysis does.
or sleep with the coin flips.
Yeah. Zubats. Just as annoying in this game as they are in most Pokemon games. But at least we got the agility off, so we're not going to have to worry about this attack.
Well, I did damage to myself, but I got rid of his Sphero, so...
You won the moral victory.
Lost the battle, won the war.
Victory.
Oh. I always forget I need to change decks here. So
Yeah,
this is where we bring in that Mewtwo promo that we picked up for defeating the Psychic guy.
Yeah. For defeating Murray, the Psychic Club leader and the second biggest nerd in this game. We're going to use it to defeat the largest nerd in this game.
I only have 14 Psychic Energy. That's not fun.
Yeah, for whatever reason, this game does not like giving us a lot of Psychic or Water energies based off of how we go about doing things.
Yeah, they're more common in the booster packs that we try to avoid because they don't have useful cards for the run.
Yeah, and so this promo Mewtwo we have...
This is like the perfect setup.
Has 2 attacks, and they combo together super nicely. So the first one is for 1 Psychic Energy, we get to take 2 energy cards from the discard pile and attach it to the Mewtwo.
Which I was able to do because I discarded a bunch of cards by playing my Professor Oak. So second turn Cyburn.
Yeah, which does 40 damage, and since basically every Pokemon in this deck is weak to Psychic, we're just going to blow through this entire lineup.
Gonna tear through it like a Kleenex at a stop party.
And, of course, there is one Pokemon that can slow us down.
Oh, Porygon. Porygon has 30 HP, but it's resistant to Psychic. So it takes 3 turns to kill. And it can change your weakness, too.
Which can be obnoxious, but hopefully we'll be able to get through the last of these Pokemon without seeing one.
Oh no, I got poisoned.
Oh no, whatever
Oh, no.
you're going to do.
It's too bad that the match is over, so it's not going to affect me.
I know, right? And there's 7. So we're going to take this deck out for one more fight against Mitch, the Fighting Club Master.
Who we can now fight because we defeated all his peons that were hiding all over the world.
Yep.
Ooh, this is another, like, perfect setup.
Yeah. And Mitch can be a bit obnoxious because he actually has Pokemon that do damage.
Do I have a potion? I don't.
Well, hopefully you
But
can
I'm gonna switch this Pokemon out, so...
Nice.
Yo, dog, we heard you like energy.
Jeez. Yeah, and even if you don't get the second Psychic Energy into your discard pile, usually if you can Professor Oak into having another one in hand or Computer Search into having it, that's still good enough to attack on this turn because you can just attach it then.
Yeah, so if you can start off with 2 Psychic Energy and a third energy of any type... Ooh.
Ooh.
Let me
that's
see.
rough.
Do I have anything? Ooh, I have an energy search. I can use that. That will change the RNG.
Yeah, you can also grab a potion.
Not with energy search.
Right, it's an energy search. Heck. Hi. I know how to play this game. I've played this game before.
So, the RNG frames
Well,
will change up when you... Oh, I just take it out now. The energy... RNG... It's been a long day. The RNG frames...
You need RNG to shuffle a deck randomly.
Yeah. So RNG frames... Basically, the way RNG frames work in this game is they're constantly advancing each frame, except when you're in the middle of a duel or in the computer. Which, speaking of the computer, I'm going to, since I've got some time, see if I can get some good trainers out of the PC.
Yeah. As you see, we have all these unread emails.
Oh, item finder.
Wow, it's just like real life. So there's an item finder.
Scyther!
Sadly, we don't need that anymore. We're going to be building a deck centered around dugongs, and then we're going to be building the Doug Trio deck again.
I got an item finder. I'm not gonna...
Which, you know, at the end of the day, you really can't complain about that.
Yeah. Ooh, and I got 4 dugongs.
Yo, nice.
But anyway,
Dugong.
RNG frames. They basically freeze from advancing during a match, but you can... Oh, I only got 1 computer search this whole game. That's okay. I got plenty of stuff I can do here.
Yeah. So we're going to throw a bunch of water energies in, and then some fighting energy to make up the difference, because we're going to need those for the Doug Trio deck we're building afterwards anyway.
Yep. So... But you can change... So basically, the RNG frames, they will save if you reset and then jump back into the point in the duel you were, instead of reloading a save. Trying to put a water energy on my bench. So... Basically... This is a terrible hand, Professor Oak. Sorry, I'm trying to explain what I'm doing, plus talk about the RNG at the same time. So when the RNG frames advance, they also save, so if you try to reset and rejoin the duel where you left off, it will reload where the RNG frames were. So no matter what you do, that heads is always going to become heads, unless you do something to change the RNG.
Yes.
The things that advance RNG are flipping a coin, shuffling the deck, or using Mankey's Pokemon power for some reason.
I didn't know about that last one.
Yeah, Mankey's Pokemon power resets the RNG frames.
That's hilarious.
Ooh, I need a potion. Don't have a potion, but...
I mean, you got Defender, and you've got energy removals.
He's only got the one Pokemon, though. I'm gonna put this seal on my bench just to be safe.
Better safe than sorry.
Do I not... How do I not have enough... Oh! He used an energy removal on me. Well...
Yep.
I did not see that. So, yeah.
Well, this
Bye,
is getting
Dugong.
spicy.
Good thing I had that Defender.
Yeah. Defense! Defense!
And bye, Courtney.
Woo! Unfortunately for us, Courtney is the least RNG. And she didn't play her legendary Pokemon card.
Oh, she didn't, did she? So you always want to make sure you say you want to prepare for the duel so you can go into the menu.
And for most things, save, but for this fight in particular against Steve, they give him some weird nickname around being like the fact.
I'm gonna throw a Hitmonchan in just because I'm low on Dugtrios.
Yeah. Better safe than sorry on that front. So all 4 of the next trainers have legendary Pokemon cards, is what the game calls them. The first 3 we're gonna face are each themed around the legendary birds. So we didn't see the legendary Moltres, but we might see Zapdos. All of them have Pokemon powers that happen when they are put into play. Zapdos' Pokemon power does 30 damage to a random Pokemon on the board.
And it doesn't apply weakness or resistance. So if it picks your active Diglett and you have nothing on the bench, you just lost because of RNG.
Yep. It's great.
This game is great.
Additionally, you'll notice that when we were looking around with the energy removal, there's a Zapdos on the bench. Zapdos is a flying type, which means it resists fighting.
Yep. Which means unless I evolve this sucker, it's not doing any damage.
Nope.
And, I have... Oh. I can't... I was about to say, I have a Gust of Wind, but I can't even use that, because he had nothing on his bench.
Yeah.
Although I can now.
We might be in a situation where RNG has screwed us over a little bit, because it could be the case that both of the Dugtrios in this deck are in the prize pool.
Yep. Oh, I have a Pokeball card. Oh, and I got heads. Sweet.
Yo.
There's Dugtrio. Okay. My man. And now, we can do 40 damage to the Zapdos.
Which isn't, enough to take it out in one
shot. Okay, we're starting that fight over.
Yeah, unfortunately...
Yeah, there was no coming back from that.
A big... That's not what you want to see.
This is a good starting hand, though.
Yeah, we got the Dugtrio in hand, which is, at the end of the day...
Damn it!
Oh no! Again...
So there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, that one was brutal.
Yeah. This game.
Yeah.
You can have a, really good run, and then you get down to the RNG on the final set, and then just... I had a... something like 7-minute PB going into, the fight after this one earlier, and because of RNG, I finished 2 minutes over.
Yeah. These last couple of fights can be really brutal for a number of reasons. One, they're all using super tough and fairly tanky Pokemon. 2, the AI in this game is designed to stall if it can't win.
Yep.
Because as it turns out, if you're playing a trading card game, and you draw into more cards, you might be able to find an out. So if you can stop your opponent from defeating you in that time, you may have a chance to turn the tide back to victory. Which, makes sense. I buy it. It's a logical progression. But what it does mean is that if you're in a situation where you're steamrolling the opponent, they might just be like, I'm going to slow your game down as much as I can. And also, because we only have the 2 cards in the deck that will actually be able to do anything about it, we're stuck here.
Yep. So this may end up being a reset.
Another reset.
Unless we can somehow have Zapdos end up killing itself.
Yeah.
Marathon luck.
I know, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Computer search. Still the best freaking card in this game.
The real MVP. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to sacrifice my benched Diglett. But small price to pay for the smiting of one's enemies.
Indeed. And that Zapdos is down.
Now there's this Zapdos.
Which has 2 energies on it, which isn't the 4 it needs to attack.
This could still end in failure for me here.
Fingers
Yeah, he potioned. But he did not attack, so...
Okay. Well, it's gonna take 3 rounds
Oh,
anyway. No. That's brutal.
Actually, you know what? No. No. I was about to say I can't do anything there.
Alright,
Okay, this is an alright hand.
We got 1 fighting energy, but, you know, we'll make do.
Well, we've got 2 energy searches, so...
That's an easy way to make do.
Country girls making do.
Okay.
That is an inside joke between me and my spouse and our boyfriend.
Nice. Okay, there's the Zapdos. That's okay. We're gonna start the damage train rolling.
Come on, ride the train.
Choo-choo!
And... we should be able to take it out before it can use its big boom.
Yeah. Just as long as, you know...
Yeah, and he seems to know it's dead in the water, so he's attaching energy elsewhere.
Got him.
Got him, coach. Oh, we got paralyzed. I think I have a full heal, though.
I think you do too.
I do.
Nice.
Oh,
Alright.
he had nothing left on his bench.
Yeah. There goes Steve.
I lost
Now
5 minutes on that split.
And now we're on to the worst fight in this game. You remember how I talked about how the AI likes to stall when it knows it can't win? Well, here's a deck that is literally built around stalling.
Not built around marks, though.
I have had so many PBs die to Jack here that I even want to think about.
My PB earlier died to Jack.
Yeah.
I need a... Doug Trio. Oh, come on. Oh, come... that's a reset.
Oof. Yeah, unfortunately,
Big
Lapis'
oof.
water gun does extra damage based off of how many water energies are attached to it. And so if it has time to build up, it has time to wreck. Face.
I have no energy.
Ugh.
and I'm paralyzed because of the Articuno's Pokemon power.
Yep.
I'm just gonna preemptively reset this one.
Fair.
Yeah, this is why the estimate is 2 hours. Because RNG.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm honestly surprised I didn't have more resets before the final.
No, it was going really well, but so much of this game is so luck dependent from, each individual fight to the individual...
So we're gonna reset there because we don't want that Tails to waste our Pokeball card.
Yeah. So between, each individual fight, between what you open in each pack every time you go through, this game is so incredibly reactive, which, frankly, is why I love running it. Yes, RNG this giveth and RNG this taketh away.
Mostly taketh away.
Yeah, let's always taketh away. Let's be real. We're all friends here. But the important part...
For a moment, I thought both my Doug Trios were in my prizes. Yeah, that was a hard reset. Yeah, most of the community plays this on an emulator because of it's easier to have a save in reserve for when you're starting past the tutorial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because unfortunately this game only comes with the single save file, so you can't just have... if there was even a second one, you could just have that save file prepped and ready, launch it, and then save over the second one repeatedly.
And on that coin flip, I did a hard reset instead of a soft reset, because the soft reset would have pressed the button to advance the frame, at which point it would have permanently accepted that Pokeball as having been used.
Mm. So is there a universe where you computer search for a fighting energy?
It might be going that way. Actually, you know what? I don't need it at the moment, but... Also, just for another note, if you decide to run this game, if you are playing it on the speedrun, on the emulator, you have to use a specific one that's set up for Pokemon speedruns, and you actually have to either show the full window, or you have to reset and show the BIOS thing so that your run is quote-unquote valid. I just went ahead and retreated. Paid the cost for it. It should also be noted that there's not really one, set route for this game fully, because if you take a look at the leaderboards, pretty much all the runs, on the top, they all use different routes, which are different from the route I'm using right now.
Yeah, this is closer to what the leaderboard calls the beginner route, and it's nice, it's fairly consistent, but the fun thing about there being all these different routes is that there's, again, that room for improvisation, and, you might be the one who finds quote-unquote the route if you were to start playing this game.
There is actually a route, where, in the final 4/5, you actually... You actually, after you fight, Steve, you switch back to using Dugong.
Yeah.
The, like, quote-unquote perfect way to do it... Perfect's not the right word, but I can't think of a better word. The best way to do it is to just stick with the Doug Trio deck, because if you are able to win each match, the first time, you save the time from, changing your deck.
Yeah, and the thought there is that if you don't have a lot of Doug Trios, but you do have a lot of Dugongs, it can be more consistent against some of these later fights. But the Doug Trio is, in general, faster, because it lets you tear through things such as the Chanseys we saw. And the Kangaskhan's that Rod is invariably going to put out.
Oh, Rod is gonna put out, alright. What?
Don't you... Oh, well, there's the fighting energies. That makes life nice.
Yeah, let's see if Diglett stays alive long enough to utilize them.
Yeah, that's always one of the questions in this game.
We're gonna see if he goes for Ember.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's not going to.
That's always one of those, you know, touch-and-go moments.
I would have drawn Doug Trio in the next turn.
I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
Which is the fun thing with this game. Okay. Come on. Rod,
Ah, damn it. Damn it! Why?
Oh!
Ooh.
Okay. Well, this is, again, getting into spicy territory. Okay.
Gonna risk this. I was hoping I would get a plus power.
Yeah, that... I had my fingers crossed, too. Come on...
Yeah, Doug Trio's down for the count.
Well, at least we have the Hitmonchan ready to go.
Yep. And I have another Doug Trio in my hand now.
Nice.
That was a Tails. So again, I did the hard reset so that I wouldn't end up pressing the button to advance the...
And then we're gonna boop Dragonair right in the snoot.
Okay, we got a success that time.
Woo! Ridiculous.
I'm playing it kind of safe because I'm already not going to PB or anything, and it's a marathon, so I'm just gonna try to get another Doug Trio set up just in case. May not need it at this rate.
But like, and you know, even if it wasn't a marathon setting, you never know when your opponent's just going to be like, and yeah, there's 30 damage.
Yeah.
What up?
A lot of the top times don't set up extra Pokemon on the bench just because it takes more time. And that's how they're able to shave it down to like 40-something minute runs.
Yeah, but that requires just like not only you know, all those micro optimizations, but also really good luck and being able to beat all these trainers on the go. And so here we are. Here's the final fight against Ronald.
Oh no, we have to fight our poorly defined rival. Who would have guessed?
Yeah, sadly we can't just lose this one.
It's like, did anyone tell the player character that this guy was our rival? Because it doesn't seem like anyone actually did.
Yes, he did. Immediately upon introducing himself.
I was hoping he didn't have anything to put on the bench.
Ooh, and that's a Moltres, which is the one we didn't see Courtney have. That when you play it,
but I have a computer search in my hand.
3 fire energies from your deck. You know, that's balanced. This game is great. But luckily, we have tools we need to start chipping away.
Yeah, so the trainer cards are very versatile and very useful, and you really rely on them heavily, particularly in this run. Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's rough.
I like how they didn't even bother to, like, format Ronald's name properly on the Ronald wants to fight screen.
I know, right?
It's like, he doesn't even get that.
It shows you how much care and respect Ronald has for this, game.
Also, Moltres have Pokemon power.
Yeah.
There's a
fun science.
Yeah.
It's very much not a science.
Eh. Sometimes you just gotta try, and if the coin flip doesn't go your way, you can manipulate it to go your way.
Yep.
Ah.
Duh. Well, at least we can take out an Eevee.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was looking for.
I mean, heart of the cards guide us.
One way or another. Gotta find ya.
Right.
Gonna get ya. Also, I'll take out this other Eevee.
Yeah, one of the high-level meta strategies I've seen with this game is dealing with the energy cards that your opponent puts out, because you can only attach 1 energy to a Pokemon per turn. So
I got real lucky on that coin flip coming up tails.
Yeah, seriously. Well, that's it. Time is not until we have collected the 4 legendary Pokemon cards, but at this point, get your GGs in chat.
Yeah, so basically, you go through the cutscenes of seeing all the cards, which takes forever. And
Yeah.
then there'll be some text, and when the screen flashes white, that's when time happens.
And the credits begin.
Yeah. Scoop Up is another semi-useful trainer. And that's time.
GG.
Yeah, that wasn't an hour, hour 31. That was not a bad time for a marathon run.
Yeah, and like you were uh, very far ahead coming out of Courtney.
Yeah,
And then
Courtney, I had a like 5 minutes off my PB, so
And
I
then-
was, and then Steve happened, and then Jack happened.
yeah, that's how these runs go, and honestly, what I find super exciting about this game.
Yeah,
It's just, it can be frustrating, but I enjoy the actual gameplay of just trying to play a card game as fast as I can to also be really, really fun and exciting.
yeah. So yeah, came in 30 minutes under estimate.
Always good.
If there's any, well, now, if anyone out there wants to, enjoyed this run, wants to learn how to run the game, etc., first of all, I would recommend playing through the game casually, learning how the mechanics of the Pokemon trading card game work if you're not familiar with that. The tutorial that we skipped does a pretty decent crash course in that. Oh, here's a background we didn't see in this run because we never go to the Challenge Cup. So, but yeah, yeah, it's with just a handful of cards, it's real easy to break the game and play with decks in a way that weren't necessarily developer intended. I guess, I don't know, are any decks technically developer intended? I don't know.
I mean, for a TCG at its stage of development, where this is,
These decks
I'm not
are...
sure what is developer intended.
Yeah, these decks are decks that definitely only work in the microcosm that is this game.
Yeah. Because not only, coming into this, do we know exactly what our opponent is going to have,
Yeah.
we are... we can, develop strategies to, like, specifically counter. If I were to go, and play against someone and they're like, actually, no, I'm going to play this other deck against you.
Yeah. Also, the stores do not like it when you try to RNG manipulate the packs they have in stock.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I've tried that, but that's why I'm not allowed at Target anymore. But yeah, if you want to run this, if you don't know how the trading card game works, play through the game casually, get familiar with it, and there's a SRC page for